Alright, this is a tutorial on Google Sketchup, and if you go to www.sketchup.com and click download SketchUp, and then you can select what you're going to use it for, put an email, select why you're going to use it, select your operating system, agree to their license, and click download, and it will download it to your downloads file. Now once you've got it downloaded, this is pretty much what I've learned from using it. Now I've added a couple of extensions. So the first thing is you can right click up here and customize your toolbar, and you can put anything you want in that toolbar. Okay, but one of the two main ones are these two right here, which is 3D Warehouse and Extension Warehouse. Extension Warehouse is where you can get your extensions. Like three of my favorites are shapes, because it has geometrical shapes. Keyframe animation, so you can animate. And light up, so you can add lighting. So over here you have the select tool, and if you left click and hold and drag, it'll make a square, and you can select everything in that square. So once you have something selected, you can move it or rotate it, or with the move, here are all your tools, by the way, up here at the top. And like I said, you can customize your toolbar. This is a move tool, and this is a rotate tool. But in the move tool, if you notice, if you have it selected with the pointer tool first, then the move tool will be only for this, and you'll have three red crosses pop up. And if you put the move tool over it, it'll turn into the rotate tool, and you can rotate it on its axis or hit escape. But the move tool itself, and if you don't have it selected and you go to the move tool, as you put the cursor over different objects, it'll select them, and the crosses will appear too. So let's select it again, and you can move her along an axis. So this is the blue axis, which is up and down. That's the green axis, which is basically length, and this is the red axis, which is width. So the green and the red are the floor, basically, the square of a floor, and the blue is to the ceiling. So what we're going to do is make something basic. We'll start by, we can move her, and if you notice, as I move her, it can go along the green axis, go along the red axis, or go along the blue axis, and it'll say on blue axis. But if you hold down the shift key while you're on one of the axes, it'll get darker, and then no matter where you bring it, it'll stay on that axis. Also, you can hold the up and down key for blue, and then left key for green, and right key for right on your keyboard. And hit escape. So we're going to move her just along the red for a second here, and then hit spacebar to get back to our pointer. And we're going to come to our line over here, which is, or you can hit spacebar back to a point, you get to the letter L, and that'll take you to line. I believe that's, I'm using a Mac, so it could be different for PC. But anyway, we're going to come to these shapes over here, and there's a drop down arrow, and you can switch between rectangle or rotated rectangle or circle or polygon. But we're just going to mess with a basic rectangle right now, which is what it should have started with. And you can put a point anywhere. If you notice that red dot right there, it'll start where the red dot is, not where the tip of the pencil is. But right here, it'll start where the tip of the pencil is once you get on an axis. And like I said, if you hold shift, well, it doesn't do anything for this one, but alright, let's get here to the center, the origin, and we're going to make a square, or a rectangle. And so this can also go up along the blue axis, but you kind of have to get the sweet spot. We'll go back along the red and green axis. We'll just make a ground here. And I have a mouse with an extra button, and that extra button allows me to do this. But what I'm clicking here is the orbit tool, which I believe is the O button. And you can click it and move, and if you hold shift while in the orbit tool, it'll switch to the pan tool over here, which allows you to pan, which I believe is P. No, it's not P. P is push-pull. So speaking of push-pull, you can use push-pull to take a surface, like the surface of this rectangle, and click it, and then make it larger. And then we can hit spacebar, select her, go to our move tool, click, push up on the keyboard, get her along the blue axis, and have her standing on it. Now I want to make a wall, so I'll go back to the rectangle. Now start at this endpoint, want it along the blue axis. We'll make a wall there. And we'll make a wall here. And a wall here. So let's start from there. And another wall here. Alright. Now I want a wall across the top, but it didn't make one across the top for some reason. And that's because I made the walls one by one. So if I want one across the top, if a space is open, but you have enclosed lines and there's no top, you can go to the line tool and just connect one side to the next, and it'll make a top. I'm going to hit the delete key to get rid of it. Then I can select that line, it'll turn blue, and get rid of it. But I'm going to go and make a rectangle on top up here. And then I'll right click it and click hide. And then I can always go to edit, unhide, and the last one I just did are all. But we're going to hide it again for now so we can keep messing with it, and we're going to hide this one too. Go to my move tool and I'll bring me back down here. Spacebar to go back to my pointer. So I want to change some of the colors here. So you have this paint bucket up here, and we can use it by getting this color box and using main colors around here, any color we'd like, and then control on PC or Windows and command on Mac, command Z is undo. And we have colors, we have spectrum here, sliders, crayons with specific colors, and then this one over here is the good one, because this is where you have textures, and you can really get into it. So if we want to get, like, I don't know, let's get some stone surface, something like that. We can make the walls on that side. Alright, so if I hit spacebar again, go back to my pointer. You notice there's two sides to every wall you make. So, or every surface you make, there are two sides. So if you select it, right click and hit Entity Info, you'll get this Entity Info box. And there are two sides of it. And since I already used the paint tool to drop a texture on one side of it, it added it there. So I can click this other side and it'll bring the paint tool back up. And I can make it right there just by touching it. But once I move over here, then it loses it and you have to redrop the paint. So Control Z or Command Z on Mac to get rid of that. And so I want this for all of them. So what I'll do is I'll come back to this paint tool and I'll get this and then I'll do it just like I did in the beginning. And the floor, I want it something different. And if you hit this eyeball right here, you can just left click and move around and look. And the feet allow you to click and move throughout your model. Up is forward, down is back, and left is left, right is right. Alright, spacebar and go back to our. Then I have a rolling key, a rolling thing on my mouse. But if you have a laptop with touchpad, it's probably 2 fingers up or down, or wherever you scroll up and down on a page. That's how you zoom in or out, I believe. So what I want to do here is I want to show you how I can connect some things and make some things look nicer before I finish this tutorial. So we'll start by hitting Windows and mess with this components, this components bar here. And in the components bar, if you hit the home, this is where your home is. Now, I have extensions added here, so this is where this light up is. You won't have that. But if you come to the drop down arrow, you'll notice you have some other ones where you can get in here and look at different ones, and it'll have all kinds of different components, like this bed. And then I can add a bed in here. And then we can come over here and find some architecture, and it'll look it up from the 3D warehouse. So that's what that 3D warehouse is for, components. And the extension warehouse is for extensions. And like the shapes extension will give you this little shapes toolbar, and I can add these shapes into the model. Like if I wanted to add something like this on the wall. And then if you have the light up, just a quick light up tutorial, you can hit the light up query key, click it there, click it again, and then use this for the lumens, how bright you want it, whether or not you want it to show a corona, which makes it look like a little sun, what color you want the light to be, and then you can hit go and render, and it'll render it, and there are light up tutorials for that. Alright, so back to over here. You can put all kinds of cool components, and it'll look up the component, like, you know, let's put a pool table in there, and it'll download it for you. Boom, stick a pool table in there. And then, you know, if I want to put it back, let's say I want to make a window or something, I can come back to unhide everything, and, you know, let's say I want to put a roof on it. I can put a roof on it very quickly by doing a number of things, but I would find there are a number of ways to make a roof on here, but we're just going to make it make a door with a rectangle. Very simple door. Maybe a little walkway. We can even build some stairs. Show you how to build some stairs. Come over here. Draw some straight lines. And come back to this push-pull tool. Pull it out. Split it in half. Back to the push-pull tool. Pull it out. Boom.